This week, I met residents in central Glasgow who are campaigning against the private renting website, Airbnb. This is an issue being raised across Europe, and Barcelona, Berlin, Dublin, Paris, Amsterdam and Reykjavik have already legislated to ban or restrict the system of very short-term leases in city flats. These restrictions are mainly due to the impact short-term lets have on existing residents. Patrick Harvey and I are working together on behalf of those residents. We laid some parliamentary questions to find out if the Scottish Government were planning further reforms to allow local authorities to regulate these types of lets. Well, not so far, it would seem. Residents in Glasgow tell us that it's now becoming big business, and although it isn't a huge problem now, they felt that based on the experience of other cities, that it would become one eventually. My debate this week was on a government report into preventing hate crimes. I highlighted the staggering level of hate crime against disabled people. Young disabled people are 3 or 4 times more likely to face abuse than other young people. Half of disabled women have been abused. Race crime is still the most common form of hate crime, though it is down by 3%. Some headlines have suggested that Scotland has had less problems with race crime than the rest of the UK following Brexit. However, it's very early days to draw any conclusions. One seismic event this week was mentioned several times in the debate on hate crimes: the seemingly unexpected election of Donald Trump as the 45th US President, that is to say. If I was an American citizen, I would certainly have voted for Hillary, but very much through gritted teeth. In my maiden speech at the beginning of this 5th Parliament, I quoted the mega-mind that is Stephen Hawking, who said that he didn't understand the Trump phenomenon. I did, however, warn people that we had better try to understand it, because it might actually happen. The election of Trump, in my opinion, is the same phenomenon that led to the surprise, for some, of Britain leaving Europe, and to some degree the Scottish referendum result. The shift from no to yes was, in my opinion, a message that people are clearly fed up with the status quo of politics. Some of it is uncomfortable reading. We must face up to the challenges placed on us to make sense of it all. I jointly hosted the Trussell Trust reception this week. This is the UK's largest food bank. We know from our earlier posting here that welfare benefit sanctions are the biggest reason for food banks. One point that struck me, as well as the desperation people feel having been sanctioned by the DWP, is that more people in work are having to turn to food banks to feed themselves and their families. I'm calling on the Scottish Government to produce an exit plan as part of the overall plan to reduce poverty. We don't want food banks to be a permanent feature of life, but for now they are a necessity. I asked the First Minister this week in an oral question on homeless children in temporary accommodation, as it has increased by 591 since last year. This figure is not coming down. I asked her to look at setting conditions for house builders to build the types of housing as part of the promise to build 50,000 houses. I argued that this could make a difference for those families. For example, if we build more houses for pensioners, it would free up 2, 3 or 4 bedroom houses. It's the lack of these type of houses that is the #1 reason for the problem. general questions to ministers this week, I asked John Swinney to consider the situation of young people on their 16th birthday who are expected to pay full adult rail fares. Many 16 and 17-year-olds are still in school or education and either have no earnings or earn as little as £3.40 an hour. John Swinney said it was a valid point and noted my call for the next ScotRail franchise to include this condition.